Hassan and the Magical Paper, A Journey to a World Without Zero. Abdul Salim. Deep in the dusty corners of his grandfather's attic, Hassan found a scrap of parchment that didn't look like the others. It wasn't yellowed or brittle. Instead, it pulsed with a soft, indigo light. In the center of the page was a single, perfectly round character, the number 0. Hassan ran his finger over the ink, which felt warm to the touch. "It's just a circle," he whispered. "It stands for nothing. I wonder what the world would be like if we didn't have to bother with nothing at all." As the words left his lips, the indigo light flared, swirling around Hassan like a sparkling ribbon. The floor beneath his feet seemed to dissolve into a sea of ink and stars. He felt weightless, tumbling through a tunnel of shimmering equations and geometric shapes. The glowing paper in his hand hummed a low, musical note, and suddenly, the attic was gone. Hassan landed softly on a cobblestone street that felt very different from home. Hassan looked up at a giant clock tower in the center of the square. It was beautiful, but something was wrong. The hands were moving, but the numbers were nonsensical. Instead of starting at 12, the clock face began at 1. The time currently read 12:01, then jumped straight to 12:11. There was no 12:05 or 12:10. In fact, there were no zeros anywhere on the dial. The townspeople hurried about, looking frustrated as they constantly tapped their watches in confusion. Hassan wandered toward a market stall where a man named Amin was surrounded by baskets of gleaming spices. Amin was frantically scribbling in a thick leather ledger, his brow furrowed in a deep pout. "Is everything okay?" Hassan asked. Amin looked up, waving his quill in the air. "It is a disaster. I have sold every single bag of saffron I had today, which is wonderful, but I cannot record my inventory. I have none left, but I have no way to write down none." Amin pointed at his book. "If I write 1, it looks like I have 1 bag. If I leave it blank, it looks like I forgot to do my work. I need to show that the space is empty, but there is no mark for emptiness in this land." He sighed, looking at his empty baskets. Without the concept of zero, his entire day of successful trading had become a mathematical nightmare. He couldn't even calculate his profit properly because he couldn't hold a place for the tens or hundreds. Leaving the merchant to his muddled math, Hassan walked to a nearby park. He saw a young boy named Zaid sitting on a bench, staring at a cardboard box. Zaid looked like he was about to cry. "Did you lose something?" Hassan asked kindly. Zaid looked up. "I had 5 marbles," he explained. "I gave 5 marbles to my friends. Now my box it's..." He struggled to find the words. "I can't tell my mom what's in the box. It's not 1, and it's not 2. It's just not." Zaid turned the box upside down, shaking it to prove his point. "In school, they told us everything starts from 1. But my marbles started from 5 and went away. Now there is a hole in my counting." He looked into the empty box as if he expected a number to magically appear there. Hassan realized that without 0, these people couldn't describe the beginning of a journey or the end of a supply. They were stuck in a world that only knew how to exist, never how to start or finish. Hassan tried to use a ruler he found on the ground to measure a fallen leaf, but the markings began at 1. He realized that science would be impossible here. Temperature couldn't drop below 1 degree without disappearing. Rockets couldn't count down to a launch. He felt a sudden chill. "Zero isn't just nothing," Hassan whispered to himself. "It's the balance. It's the starting line." He looked at the magical paper again, and it began to glow with a brilliant, golden light. A tall, graceful figure appeared from the shimmering light. He wore robes that seemed to be woven from the night sky, and his eyes held the wisdom of many centuries. "I am Shunye," the figure said with a smile. "I am a keeper of the Great Circle. You have seen what happens when the Sifr is forgotten. The world becomes a ladder with the bottom rung missing." Hassan looked at him in wonder. "Why is it so important?" Shunye waved his hand, and the air filled with images of ancient lands. Long ago, in India, mathematicians realized that Shunye, the void, was a number itself. Then, great Arab scholars took this Sifr and gave it a home in the House of Numbers. They understood that you cannot have 100 without the zero to hold the tens and units in their place. It is the most powerful tool ever discovered, for it allows us to count the stars and measure the atoms. Zero is the seed, Shunye continued, placing a hand on Hassan's shoulder. It is the moment before the race begins. It is the silence before the song. It represents endless possibilities because, from nothing, anything can be created. Hassan looked down at the paper. The zero was no longer just a circle. It looked like a portal, a sun, and a seed all at once. He realized that zero didn't mean empty. It meant ready. With a final flash of indigo light, Hassan found himself back in the attic. The dust was still there, but the air felt fresh. He ran downstairs to his desk and grabbed a marker. He drew a large, beautiful zero on a clean page. To him, it no longer looked like a hole. It looked like a hug, a beginning and a promise. "Thank you, Zero," Hassan said, smiling. He picked up his math book, ready to start his homework from the very first page, page 0.